The feds capture Gotti for his involvement in the Young Dolph setup. The witness statement said that allegedly they put $1 million on Dolph's head. Young Dolph's wife, Mia J, has been trying to get justice for him for over 2 years, man. And if you guys are rocking with Young Dolph and you want to get justice for Dolph, throw the dolphin emojis in the comments section. Let me know where y'all from, who you rocking with, man, because now that they look at it, they sat back, they did all the interviews with everybody. It's at least 14 different suspects. You got to understand that 10 CMG members had just got busted and caught in the federal raid where blacyoungsta's brother's actual whole hit was done at bigjook. They investigating that. It's a whole lot of stuff that's going on in Memphis that they have to find out to basically get to the bottom of who set up Young Dolph, who put the $1 million bounty on his head, and why is all these other people surrounded by the situation getting hit up left and right, man. It's an all-out war in Memphis right now. They need to rebuild back the city. They need the role models back in, and it's not helping that CMG and Gotti and all of them, they're still trying to brag about a lot of stuff. Like Gotti even tried to brag on Young Dolph's birthday about whatever, like he was saying that he don't wish nobody no fake birthdays or anything like that. And this is just, they won't leave it alone. This is why the karma is coming after them just like this, is because the fact that they keep pushing the envelope. They try to get away with so many different things, but at the end of the day, they're not going to let you get away with everything. The feds know exactly what's going on. They've been watching them for a long time, ever since the first time that they had issues. And one thing is that they know for a fact that the people in the cookie shop, they got their story all mixed up and wrong, and so that's why when they interviewed him the second time, the stories didn't match. And the way that the whole investigation in the feds work is that if you don't keep the same story when they interview you the second time, and whatever you said the first time is different, then that means you lying, and that they're gonna look further into it, and that you probably trying to cover up this whole entire thing. And so that's when they realized that a lot of the people that was in the situation, for some reason, they spoke out right there in front of that cookie shop in the parking lot to all the reporters, to all the cameras on the news, saying this and that, saying that the cookie shop owner was in the store, Maurice, and then saying that he was picking him up and saying, "Stay with me, Dolph, stay with me, Dolph." But then when they asked him directly, he said that he wasn't even there at all, and that he walked up into the front door and seen that the workers were ducking from ricochets and everything, rounds flying in through the window. But he said he didn't even notice that Dolph was on the ground. He thought that Dolph was actually sticking the place up himself, which doesn't even make sense. How could he have thought that when Dolph was on the ground with his arm out the window? And how did he not see the broken glass everywhere? How did he miss to see Young Dolph car parked there? The witnesses say that Lincoln was already there all morning, and then he tried to tell the feds in the interview to the reporters that he had just pulled up, but they know that the Lincoln's motor was cold the whole time. That means that the car hasn't moved in a few hours. And so when they went and did the forensics and the ballistics, they found out that Dolph was actually trying to escape out the front door because he woke up from them tying him up and all of this stuff. There was an office chair that had rope on it, duct tape, and some type of gag to put in people's mouth. And whenever that kind of stuff gets found at a place, that means somebody had to have gotten snatched up, tied up, and they were basically doing a lot of stuff in the back, trying to get him to give away his codes to everything, to his whole businesses and everything like that, because Young Dolph, he had millions and millions of dollars, and so they try to rob him, they try to get everything up out of him. But Dolph, he left millions of dollars back to his whole family and everything like that. Mia J, she's inheriting a lot of stuff, man. And the PRE dudes, they got a lot of things too. They got a lot of jewelry, the blue diamonds. A lot of the jewelers, like Johnny Dang said that Young Dolph blue diamonds are worth millions of dollars, and that his watches and everything, even if you melt them all down, you still could get $50 million from all the Young Dolph custom jewelry, man. He actually had the blue Richard Mille that he was going to sell to LeBron James because it was a 1-on-1. So a lot of people, man, they have respect for Young Dolph. They took out a legend, man, and this is why the karma is coming after the hunt, all of them. That's why the feds, they're able to round up everybody, and a lot of people, man, they're getting street justice before the feds can even get to them. That's what happened to Gotti's brother. brother, because Yo Gotti's brother Big Jook, he's the guy that gets his hands dirty and does all of the dirty work that Yo Gotti can't have his name tied to. But the fact that that's his brother and that there's pictures and videos of them meeting at the Privé restaurant to discuss how they were going to do this thing and that thing, this is what the feds are starting to listen to. They found that they subpoenaed and got warrants for all of the security tapes so that they could sit back and review each and every single one of them. Until this day, nobody has actually gotten a true story straight about how Young Dolph ended up in that cookie shop, because we know for a fact that they took his keys and that he did not drive his car, because normally when he parks the car he backs in, and the last time that he was at that cookie shop he drove the white truck. So why would he pull up in a camo wrapped Corvette this time when he could pull up in that same white truck to be low-key? It's not for no reason that Young Dolph was driving around in a low-key white truck, especially when he's going around in that area. If you know the Memphis area, and the real Memphis people know that where that cookie shop is in North Memphis. That's Yo Gotti's hood. And so why would he be riding around Yo Gotti's hood or in that area where he knows the ops could be at any corner and not be low-key? He would have normally had that truck. So something is making a lot of people think that there was no actual chance of Young Dolph pulling up in that same car to the cookie shop. He was not in the car that was left at the scene. He normally would have pulled up in the white truck, the Ford F-150 two-door. And a lot of people think that it's something weird going on. The fact that we never seen the footage, the car's parked weird, his keys got taken. How could he even drive that car if the lady took the keys out of his pocket literally just hours before, the night before, man? And that whole thing was never solved. Them people, they went out of town, and Yo Gotti's cousin came into that interview with the scrubs on. When they were at that medical center and Young Dolph was giving his last interview, the lady reached into his coat pocket and took the keys out of him, and she actually acted like she had some sort of emergency or like she was sick or something like that, and she asked her boss if she could leave the day early without getting the picture with Young Dolph. And this is why everybody was lined up for the autographs in that center. She snuck out the back, and the dude that picked her up was basically Yo Gotti's cousin, because we see this guy that came in and he was this light-skinned dude and he looked just like Yo Gotti. How did he come in with the scrubs and gloves on but he never had a doctor's badge? And so this is the thing that was red flags all over that. So that the girl with the keys and that dude who looked like Yo Gotti's cousin allegedly, they took off with Young Dolph keys, and next thing you know, Young Dolph car end up at the crime scene and he's down with his arm out the window, and then they send the two dudes to come act like they actually shooting rounds into the place, but whole time they're just shaking the Dracos, making it a disguise. It was a whole decoy setup. They made you think that it was the dudes that came in the front with that two-door foreign car and that did the damage, but it was actually the people that was in the back of the cookie shop, the people that was in the Bentley truck that drove by, and the guys that 007, the main witness, said that she saw coming out the side of the cookie shop, and nobody else is talking about that. The fact that this dude's there who had a burner on his hip and a tank top on with a baseball jersey comes out, the dude with the long dreads comes out of the cookie shop right after they heard 50 rounds, and everybody jumped down on the ground. And the next thing you know, the autopsy says it was 22 times that he got hit, but the witnesses heard 50 rounds dump, man. And so they said that Young Dolph, he tried to put up a fight and everything like that. He tried to call Snoop Bands. He tried to call Big Moochie Grape. Those are supposed to be the young dudes that was going to slide for Dolph, and they were nowhere to be found, man. The one guy, Snoop Band, said he was getting a haircut and that he missed the calls and everything like that. But when we went back and seen the footage from the barbershop story, he had his phone in his hand the whole time. He could have answered Young Dolph's call. And Big Moochie Grape, he was nowhere to be found. He was hiding out. They changed the address of the turkey drive that Young Dolph was supposed to show up to, so that way when he gets there he doesn't realize that the address has changed. So Young Dolph is looking around like, where's everybody at? Next thing you know, it was the car with no plates and dark tint that pulls up, and the guy comes out. They they stick up Young Dolph and try to get him into the back of the Bentley truck. This is where everything went south, man. Everything went left at this moment. But Young Dolph, he was smart. He knew to kick one of his shoes off so that he could leave evidence at the scene, because a true investigator, or the private investigator that Mia J hired, could have actually found the way to tie up how Young Dolph's shoe was left at that parking lot, because they have the Skycam footage. They have the CCTV cameras that show everything that happened in that parking lot. But somebody went around the security team and they bought all the footage from Young Dolph so that they could try to hide and suppress everything that happened, man. This is a tragedy, because what we gotta understand is that a lot of times when people try to buy the footage and everything like that, they know for a fact that that's what's going to catch them as guilty. And so Gotti and them, they got the money. They could go buy the footage and try to get it edited and everything like that. This is what happens a lot of time to cases where the people who's actually in the wrong or in trouble have lots and lots of money. So what they try to do is they hurry up and try to call the security team, the security company that owns those cameras, and they try to make the purchase off of them, so that way they keep the footage and they don't have to release it. If the feds go to the company before Gotti and them buy the footage, the feds can ask for the footage and they have to give it up for free. But now that the footage is bought and has been basically put into storage and it's in the hands of the CMG team, basically, allegedly, they're not going to try to release that at all until the feds come and indict them with the RICO. Then that's when they're going to be able to subpoena the footage, and the judge has to say you have to show the footage as Exhibit A and 1. And so this is how the whole thing goes, man, because a lot of people know for a fact that that footage is missing. We haven't seen exactly the way that they said about Young Dolph walking in the shop. A lot of people think that Young Dolph was taken there in a U-Haul truck and that they brought him in through the back door and tried to tie him up, man. And then he got out that manager's office out of that chair, and he used he has some type of sharp object to actually be able to cut through the ropes, and then he acted like he was still tied up. And then when the one dude came to check on him, he whacked him in the side of the head with the red fire extinguisher. Then he tried to jump out that hallway and make it through that door, and as soon as he made it through the door, it was the cookie shop owner and all the dudes, all the brothers and cousins, a whole group of people that was against him that got basically paid to do the hit. Because if it's $1 million on Dolph head or hundreds of thousands of dollars, then that means there's got to be a lot of people involved, because that money ain't going just to one person. It's going to be a whole lot of people, because they had to try to outnumber Dolph because he was going to outsmart them. And then next thing you know, Young Dolph pop up in the lobby of the cookie shop, and he's trying to get out that front door, but it's like 16 people that's trying to pull him back in and everything like that. And then that's when basically somebody dropped the pole, and then that caused everybody to fire at the same exact time, man. And this is what led down to the downfall and demise. But at the end of the day, man, they're gonna get justice for this. If you guys are supporters of Young Dolph, if you real Young Dolph fans, go ahead and comment down below, put RIP Dolph, put King of Memphis, put the Dolph emojis, and we're gonna continue on some breaking news update that just came out of Memphis. So stay tuned.